I had to go to traffic court. It's already having adverse effects on people. Do not have the wherewithal to bring Slurpees for everybody. I'm sorry. It always creates a sense of wonder and newness. And this is how sneaky Republicans in Congress are. The Republicans know it is so bad and so unpopular. They do not like when you open the door. He bangs me out for 3 tickets. Want to be a dick about it? I understand. I am here to tell you that absolutely none of that was true. I realize the police officers aren't there to help you out. It's something you look up on your little cop computer. First of all, have some decorum. And he says to me, I kid you not, no, I looked it up. And how hard it is to just live in the world. Just do your thing. By the way, can you believe that guy got off on the racketeering? That's how bad of a job that guy was doing. I'm not going to get Johnny Cochran up there to help me out with that.
Hard Rock Lunchbox.
Ah, yes. Greeting and salutations, one and all. Welcome to another edition of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And, of course, if you're watching this on Strangerhood TV on YouTube, welcome to the Top 20. It is July 10th, 2025, which means we are creeping our way towards the end of the year. I know that's hard to believe, but yet here we are. Man, I have to be perfectly honest with everybody right up front here. If you're a regular listener, this is probably going to come as no surprise, but a couple things you need to know. One, I am not feeling well because I did not sleep well. I've been a little under the weather, having some other issues kind of medically and stuff. So if I seem a little lower today, then that's just where it's at, and you can know that all you want. The other thing you need to know, or you don't need to, but the other thing you should know as a listener of the Hard Rock Lunchbox is that I have gotten absolutely no material for this week. Yes. I have been I don't even know what the right word for it is. I have been very low functioning for most of the week, and I have had a very difficult week, sort of, at work. And I'm going to actually get into the story of, why my week started the way that it did, and then just know that I had to take Monday off, and that's the story I'm going to tell you. But because of that, I just had so much other work sort of back up and build up, and I've just been so slowly moving that I'm just not accomplishing at my normal speed, so I'm just super backed up. Also, I'm having a really bad bout of inability to focus and complete tasks, and that is not unusual. It is unusual for it to be this severe and to last this long, but yeah, here we are. So I'm going to apologize in advance. But don't worry, there's like thousands of songs that I have in here, so we're just going to play Hard Rock Lunchbox Roulette, I guess, and we'll just find material for it. I definitely had stuff come in. I just simply did not get a chance to grab it. Most of my listening this week has been on the new Revel 9 single. I know that I'll just do the light housekeeping first, and then I'll get into that. But yeah, so there is a brand new Top 20 out this week. It is called Finding Your Zone of Excellence. I do talk about how difficult it was for me to have Friday off and how it was just jamming me up pre-week. Well, it got even worse having Friday and Monday off. So that didn't get any better, in case you were wondering. Also on today's show, road testing new material, the bad politics of legislating by a deadline. Obviously, the big, beautiful bill, whatever, the one big bill, I think it's technically called, passed. It's already having adverse effects on people, which I was surprised, since most of the bad stuff wasn't supposed to kick in until 2026. We'll talk about that too. And I did talk about the Johnny Harris thing about, are we better off now than we were in the 50s, 70s, or whatever. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, I did put the link to that video on the bottom of the Top 20. It is incredibly good. It's a good 20, 25 minutes well spent. Anybody that listens to this show and is interested in, wealth gaps and why you're working so hard and not really getting anywhere financially. If you're interested in any of that, this does a really great job of explaining all of that. So I could not recommend it more. In Rebel 9 news, It's Alright came out on Friday. I am happy to say it is already doing really, really well, which is great. I wasn't sure how it was going to do on holiday weekend, and by all accounts, metrics-wise, it didn't do great on the weekend, I guess because when we're posting and announcing it, people are busy doing stuff. Yes, I think it played a lot in a lot of barbecues and stuff like that, and that's great. But our reach to be able to notify people and, because everybody in our orbit knew it was coming out, but you forget, right? You wake up, it's a holiday, it's not necessarily the first thing you think of. It was actually funny for me because since I didn't have rehearsal on Thursday night, it was the first single that I haven't listened to like at midnight. Like I didn't do it because I wasn't up at midnight to listen to it. So that was just an interesting and new experience for me. So we're Whiskey Rocks tomorrow night, 7-Eleven. I know it's National Slurpee Day. I do not have the wherewithal to bring Slurpees for everybody. I'm sorry. So BYOS, I guess, is what it's going to have to happen. That's cool. I'm looking forward to that show. It's funny, I'm looking forward to that show mainly because I don't really have a lot of shows after it, and I feel like I could really use the break. So it looks like August we're going to be quiet for shows. I have some business travel coming up. It is typically when the band members take their vacations, so we're just trying to line stuff up. So there's a huge chunk of August where the entire band just won't even be in town at the same time. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of that. It does open up space for me if I feel like doing an acoustic show here or there. So I don't really know. But it'll be good because I have some serious band work I really have to get done, and I can't do that while I'm doing all these other shows. But it's also going to be a nice and easy show, I think. I'm hoping, at least. I'm excited about it because we're going to do It's Alright, which we haven't done live as a band in over a year. And we've got another brand new song called Underneath this is going to be the first time that we're playing it live, so I'm going to be very interested to see how people feel about that. So yeah, I think it'll be a good show, so I'm looking forward to it, which is a good sign for me personally and professionally. So there's that. So what I was just referencing about like why I wasn't really listening to much this week musically, because I really was listening to It's Alright, and I put it out as an EP, so it's Alright and End of Sol, and I still really like End of Sol. I think that came out really well. But the reason that happened is because of the whole Rebel 9 plan around releasing new music. Like, I know I've talked about this before, and I don't know who notices what, as far as live shows go, but the deal is once we decide to record 3 or 4 songs, whatever they are, once we sit with Dave, we go over our stuff, and we figure out what songs it's going to be, we don't play them live anymore. We don't play them live on purpose. One, because we play the F out of it in rehearsal, and it's just not super exciting to play live. But for me, I feel like it always creates a sense of wonder and newness when the song comes out. Now, we had played It's Alright, I don't know, for a couple years, maybe, as we were going through different iterations of it. And yeah, like, we'll work on it and we'll try those live to sort of get them road tested. But once we start the recording process, we pull them out of the set, which means that you have not heard this song since early 2024. So when it comes out, it's a brand new song. Well, I do the same thing too. Like, I do it for different reasons. Like, when I'm recording a song, like, I do so much prep and so much production work, and even like working on all that, and even the mix and the mastering phase usually takes a while. I have to listen to it a lot. So I don't listen to the song at all until it comes out, so that when it does come out, I listen to it on Spotify or YouTube or whatever I'm listening to it on, and I'll listen to it like 10, 20 times. Yeah, it's kind of like an artificial stream thing, but I don't do it for that reason. I do it because I haven't heard the song in a very long time, and generally if we get a song to be released, I probably like the song. So it's fun for me to go back and listen to those things as they come out, like, because I feel like I'm a listener and I'm a fan too, and that's that's a pretty rarefied air to get to when you're actually knee deep in it because you're in the band. But that's that. So I believe me, there's a plethora of things to talk about going on in the world, like the Texas floods and what they're trying to do in Florida, and how they're already with immigration, and what they're already doing to people on Medicaid on Florida, which is surprising because even though the big bill passed, like the way it was designed, and this is how sneaky Republicans in Congress are, and I'm not saying Democrats wouldn't do this too, but this time it's on the Republicans that have done that. So what they've done is they staged things in the bill so that stuff like the tax cuts and child care credit and now the SALT tax cap are going into effect immediately. So everyone's going to get stuff. Like, this is what we're borrowing $5 trillion to. Our deficit's going to be like $36 trillion or something, some ridiculous amount of money. But the deficit that we're blowing up right now because of Trump and the Republicans, that we all owe this money, by the way, but the typical American is going to be getting back anywhere between $1,200 and like $5,000, depending on where you fall on the child care credits and the SALT tax and a couple of other things. One thing to know about the SALT tax, even though they did get the SALT cap, even though they did get the cap back up to $40,000, it does expire in, I think, 5 years. Also, apparently, and I do not know this for sure, but apparently, like the no tax on tips, overtime, and something else like writing off the car loans and Social Security, that goes away by 2028, which I did not know. I'll have to confirm that. I just didn't get a chance to. But what they did is they slated all the bad stuff that kicks people off of Medicaid if they're not doing their 80 hours a month of work, and a whole lot of the other cuts, like the student loan cuts. Like their student loan cuts are through the roof. Like, it's just so bad. Like, we're trying to educate people in this country, but they're not. So they're not really. They just say it. So there's that. But that wasn't supposed to take effect until the end of 2026, right after the midterm elections, because the Republicans know it is so bad and so unpopular that if those changes take effect before the midterm elections, they're going to get wiped out. And the simple fact is that there's usually a turnover in the midterms. There's only been 2 presidencies in the past, I guess, since Johnson, I think the chart said, where the party that has the White House doesn't lose seats in the House. Like, it's happened every single time except twice. Second Bill Clinton term, and that was because the Republicans were trying to impeach him, and the impeachment was wildly unpopular. So Bill Clinton actually gained seats in the House during that time, and then the other time was during George W. Bush's first term, because we had just been attacked on 9/11, and everybody was feeling patriotic and stay the course and all that other stuff. Every other time, whatever party has the White House loses seats in Congress. Now, the Republicans can only lose 3 seats in Congress and still have a majority. They're probably going to keep the Senate because that's a heavier lift for the Dems, but they're almost certainly going to lose the House. So they're doing absolutely everything they can to make sure that people are as uninformed as possible. Because if 2026 comes and those cuts to Medicaid and student loans and all that other stuff actually go through, people are going to start feeling it. But what I found really interesting is Florida is already starting to enact some of those Medicaid cuts, even though they aren't supposed to, or that's not part of the plan. So that'll be interesting to watch in the coming days. So I did want to talk about my day on Monday. I'm going to run out of time shortly, but I'll just do my best. So I had to go to traffic court in Nassau County, in Garden City specifically, if you're familiar, on Monday, because in April, on my way to rehearsal, I got 3 tickets. They weren't. Well, one was a moving violation, and I'll explain that in a second. The other 2 were just equipment tickets, so it's not like points or anything like that. So I drive to rehearsal in Long Beach, and I drive on Lido Boulevard. Lido Boulevard is one of the straightest roads on all of Long Island, so it's a huge speed trap. Like, even when I first started rehearsing there, I knew that about Lido Boulevard and Lido Beach and stuff like that. Like, it's literally, like, you can just see for miles, right? So they have tons of lights on there, but, like, the speed limit's 30. I don't know that anybody ever goes 30, but if you go over 40, like, you'll get pinched pretty quick. I see it pretty often. So I'm driving, so I know that, so I don't speed on that road. I also don't drive in the left lane. I don't want to garner any attention, mainly because I drive it so regularly that I don't want to be a known entity that is breaking the law and is traffic stop worthy. So, but I did go to rehearsal in April, and I was driving my Subaru, and one of the headlights was out. I knew this. I knew it. I also knew that it wasn't something that I could fix. So I already had an appointment set to go to Subaru because I was getting some other work done too. It was actually set for like 2 weeks after this, or 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks after this because it was going in for a lot of stuff. It was like the whole Windows debacle, if I've talked about that was still happening. That's been fixed, which is great. Also, it had to go in for an oil change. It had to go in for some regular routine maintenance, but I was also going to get the headlight fixed. Now, the reason I can't fix the headlight after spending most of my young adult life working on my own cars is because in new cars, you might know this, in new cars, a lot of times you have to take the entire front of the car off to replace the lights. In fact, when I did finally get the headlight replaced, that was exactly what Mavis had recommended to me. I asked, it makes sense to do that because the headlight itself is probably like $100 for the kit. Like, it's not a lot of, it's money, but it itself is not a lot of money. But it's such a pain in the ass to change one light that you might as well just change both. So I ended up doing that. So I get pulled over, I assume, for that. I didn't actually... Oh, no, I do actually know because he said, do you know your headlight's out? And I told the police officer... By the way, my windows in the Subaru were not opening, so he came to the side, and I actually had my hands on the wheel, and I was like, sorry, officer, my windows do not open, so I'm going to open the door, because they do not like when you open the door without being asked to. So I was being super polite, but also like, I don't want to get shot, I don't need an incident, I don't need any of that stuff. So I was being very cool about all that, and just very matter of fact. So he opens the passenger door, which is fine. He asked me about the headlight, and I was like, yep, I do know that it's out. I actually have service scheduled for it or whatever. He's like, okay. Do you have your license and registration? So it's twilight, and this is probably bad to say, but like, I forget if it's nearsighted or farsighted, but at the end of the workday for me, because I stare at, monitors all day long, my eyes get a little buggy and like they don't see so good up close. Like, I can see the road and all that stuff fine, but so I handed him my registration, which I had. I also handed him my insurance card. Now, this is stupid, and this is a stupid me thing that I no longer do, is for whatever reason, I would always keep my insurance cards in the car, like from years ago, and mainly because it's the same policy number, and my thinking was like, well, if I lose it, or if I lose the current one, at least I always have one in there with the number on it. I thought that was a good idea. So I'm looking, and what I do is I just give him the top one. Well, it turns out the top one was from last year, and so it expired May of 24, right? So I handed him the wrong card. He saw, like, that I was looking through him. He saw that I had all of them. So I handed him the stuff. This dude... Now, I'm already late for practice, which is awesome. So this dude comes back. He bangs me out for 3 tickets, right? He gives me a ticket for the headlight, even though I already told him I had an appointment. But, fine. Want to be a dick about it? I understand. He gives me a ticket for that. He gives me a ticket because apparently Now, you might not even know this. I didn't know this. Now I see it all the time. But above your license plate, there is a light that lights up your license plate. I didn't know that. I certainly didn't have them on my older cars. Like, I didn't. But now I know it, and now I see it everywhere, and it's fine. He tells me that my license plate lights aren't working. Now, I have 2 lights back there. I have 2 of them, because I went and looked after all this. One of them was definitely working, for sure, and the other one was just really, really dirty, and it was still working, but it was just super dirty, so I just wiped it off, and I was like, okay, that was the thing. So he gives me that ticket. He also gives me a ticket for no insurance. Now, no insurance, if you're if you're driving a car with no insurance in New York State, you can go to jail for that. And I found that out because once I got my appearance ticket, it said I had to appear because it was a jailable offense, like an actual, like, I guess it was a misdemeanor or something like I could go to jail for it. And I was like, Jesus Christ. So, but I told him, I was like, but I have insurance. Like, I gave you the information, and he said it was the wrong one. I'm like, well, I have the right one in here. He's like, don't worry about it. Just send in your insurance card, and you'll be fine. So, he tells me that. He also tells me about the lights. He's like, okay, you can get these fixed. This is a Thursday night. He says, and I quote, try and get these fixed over the weekend. Then you can go to any police station on Long Island, and I said Suffolk County. He's like, Suffolk County is fine because I'm right next to one here. And he said, you go on Monday and then get it, have them come look at your lights and stuff, and they'll just sign off that it's been fixed, and you can send it in. You can send that in, get those tickets dismissed. You can send in your insurance card, get that ticket dismissed. I am here to tell you that absolutely none of that was true. I mean, I'm not saying he lied to me on purpose, but none of it was true. So I went to the police station with the tail light thing, with the license plate lights, because that was already working. And I said, hey, I've got this thing. And the police officer looks at the piece of paper. She says, no, I can't sign this. You have to get this done in 24 hours. I'm like, 24 hours? Like, first of all, that's not what he said. And she actually tells me, then plead not guilty and, try your luck with the judge. Like, try your luck. Like, dude, I did what I was supposed to do in what I thought was a reasonable amount of time, but also the time I was directed. And I realized the police officers aren't there to help you out, especially if they're trying to make a quota or something like that. But it was so dick. Like, all he had to say is, like, you have 24 hours to do this, and I definitely would have gotten that done. There is no way I could have gotten the headlight done because it took me almost another week to actually get the headlight fixed because I had to schedule time out from work and I had to schedule an appointment to get it done. I had to make sure Mavis could do it because I wasn't sure that they could because Subaru couldn't take me any earlier. And then, of course, I sent in the proof of insurance card. And so I plead not guilty to all those things. So then I get an appearance letter. It says I have to appear for these 2 tickets because I didn't satisfy something. But then it says you must appear in court because of this no insurance thing. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, you guys know if I have insurance, right? Like, it's something you look up on your little cop computer. And certainly the court knows that. But I sent in my insurance card that said it was valid. The very same thing I would have handed to the police officer if he had given me a chance to give him my newest one. I sent that to the court, and that wasn't good enough. I had to actually get a full-length letter from my insurance company, not even my agent, my insurance company, listing all this information. I had to get an original, so they had to mail it to me, and then I had to bring it to court. Well, that court date was the 11th, which was Monday. The 7th, which was Monday. Jesus. So I ended up having to go to court. I had to take the day off of work. I go to court. Like, there's a lot more to say about the court experience, and I probably will tell you another time because it was kind of interesting. But at the end of the day, I finally get my name called. I go up there. Now, by the way, I am livid that I have to appear. Like, I have fixed everything on my car within a week. I feel like it was a good idea. I definitely have car insurance, and I have a $6,500 bill a year to prove that I have car insurance. Like, I would make that up. So I show up, I have a folder, I'm dressed very nicely, which, by the way, most people showing up to traffic court look like they're showing up to a bar. Like, first of all, have some decorum and have some respect for what you're doing. Like, you're still going to court. Like, the fact that they have to put signs up, like, wear appropriate clothing, no hats, no shorts in court, like, is just bananas. Like, I understand you know what you don't know, but it's court. Like, everybody's seen court. Like, Judge Judy, Law and Order, like, everybody's seen court. Everybody. And these people were dressed like slobs. There was, like, me and 4 other dudes that looked like they were going to court. So anyway, so they finally call me up there. Dude is super chill, super nice. I have all my paperwork. And he says to me, he's like, okay. He's like, oh, we've got this. We've got your light tickets. It's like, did you get those fixed? And I said, well, the plate lights weren't broken, so there was nothing to fix. And I said, I actually went out and I bought LED plate lights from Amazon for $15, by the way. It took me 5 minutes to replace them. just so this would never happen again. These lights are so goddamn bright that when my trunk is open and you stare at it, you can't see anything for another 30 seconds. That's how bright they are. I am not getting that trap again, ever. So these LEDs should outlast my life and certainly outlast the life of the car. So I'm happy about it. So I tell him that real briefly. And then I told him, like, yeah, I got the headlights fixed. It just took a while because you had to pull the front off. And he was like, yeah, that's a pain. So he's like, you have the proof of it? So I hand him the receipt from Mavis. He's like, yeah, you're supposed to get this done in 24 hours. But it's close enough. Which is my thought. Like, why don't we just make it a week? Why does it have to be 24 hours? Like, just make it a week and accept all this stuff. So he circles it. He's like, okay, these are dismissed. I'm like, oh, do you need my insurance letter? And he says to me, I kid you not, no, I looked it up. Yeah, you have insurance. I'm like, this letter I had to get and request and have it mailed to me, they could look it up on their computer, which is exactly what I was just saying. So what is so he says that, yeah, we're going to dismiss all these. Just wait like 20 minutes and they'll hand you the dismissal. 20 minutes later, the other person calls me over, like, this is this, just take this over to the cashier and get a receipt. $0. I was looking at $208 per ticket, by the way, plus a huge fine for the insurance and jail time. Now, that was not up for debate. I had insurance. I proved it, so I wasn't worried about it. But it was still going to be a $416 payday if they didn't like what I had to say, but they reduced it to $0. So all charges were dismissed, which was awesome, and I was very happy about that. But as I was driving home, it occurred to me, again, that if this has just been handled correctly in the first place, like, if things were done that made sense here, like, not only would I not have had to take a day off of work, that wasn't so bad. Honestly, I've been so burned out, like, it's been good for me to be forced to take a day off. Not only would I not have to take the time out of my day to go all the way to Garden City and go to court, but I don't even know how many people were involved in the work of this huge, traffic stop case and eventually all got dismissed because I did everything correct or correct enough. And it's just such a waste of people's times and people's lives, and this game of, like, no, you have to come in and appear for something I absolutely didn't have to appear. Like, he looked it up on the computer and knew that I had insurance. Like, it was just that easy. And I got the lights fixed. And I had proof. And I sent that proof in. I didn't hand in anything that I didn't send a copy to the traffic court place when I pled not guilty. I included all those documents. Like I said, I included my insurance card proving I have insurance. The only thing I had new here was a letter from my insurance company, and they didn't even need it. So while I am grateful that, like, justice was done on this, major case of mine, it just highlights just how absolutely ridiculous it is and how hard it is to just live in the world. Just do your thing and just get out of it alive. And it's been really stressing me out. Like, before court, I was just like almost like nauseous level anxiety because I was just expecting, like, to be arguing on the witness stand with the police officer. I mean, this is never going to happen, right? Like, it's just not. I'm not going to get Johnny Cochran up there to help me out with that. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't need Diddy's lawyer. By the way, can you believe that guy got off on the racketeering? Jesus. Or the Rico, not racketeering. I don't even know. Whatever the federal case is. Like, and he was happy about it, right? He was like anybody that drops to the knees and thanks God for not being, busted for that, but, like, also still has 2 counts of, like, transportation and prostitution. Like, he can go away for 10 years on each of those counts. Like, I don't have time for the Diddy stuff. So I'm sorry I talked too much. I really did want to talk about, like, just that court case and just how ridiculous it is. And, like, yeah, I guess if I get another traffic ticket, like, I'm going to go to court because it did work out well for me. But, like, my God, man, like, what a waste of my time. Like, the things they could have been doing. Everybody else could have done something better. By the way, when the police officer pulled away, like, he should have waited for me to pull away when I got stopped because he pulled me over on the side of Lido where there is no shoulder. He pulled away and I almost got hit twice because I was basically in the middle of the lane without him behind me. That's how bad of a job that guy was doing. And he was not interested in anything I had to say or did not care about me at all. So thank you, Nassau County. It's always been great to see how Nassau County police treat their citizens, and this was no exception. But I am happy I got it dismissed. I'm going to stop talking because I'm exhausted, and that was way too long of a story anyway. Sorry about that. I'm going to be sorry myself when I have to edit this later in the week. Let's get to some music. I heard Revel 9 put out something new. Did you hear that? I heard that.